Hello all, I'm Jonathan Kruk, your storyteller, here with an Advent tale gleaned from my collection of stories leading to Christmas. Ah, one of my favorites. It explains something we do with care each Christmas time. Once there lived a young man of great wealth, but it bothered him. He looked round and about and thought about the lessons gleaned from his teacher and wondered, what good is all this wealth if it's just in my hands? So he sailed forth to a rather strange land, at least for him, and for those who saw him in that land. When he arrived, for example, he went into the marketplace and bought for himself fruit. And after he gave the fruitier coins, a boy comes up to him and says, "I'm just a young man, but you paid way too much for those oranges." "I did? Well, I'm sure the fruitier will be able to make good use of my coins." "Well, why would you just give away your coins?" "Well, if it will do good, then I'm all for giving away my gold." "Well, why don't you give some to me?" "Well, tell you what, why don't I have you do some good for me and give me a tour of this land? It's, well, strange to me, a fellow with a reddish beard here. Yes, we've never seen the likes of you." So the boy took our fine fellow with the red beard round and about. It was hard for both of them, but especially the boy, when people would look at this fellow with the red beard and shun him as a stranger. "Ah! Go on, get out of here," they would cry. "We don't like your kind here. You just want to take over and change things for us. We're happy the way we are." "Oh, well, you seem happy, but wouldn't you like to know how you could love your neighbor the way you love yourself?" "What? What kind of strange talk is that? Loving your neighbor? Get away!" "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll invite you to a place where I can tell you more." And the red-bearded young man, with help from our boy, who he called Peter, after the one who helped the red-bearded one's teacher, together they built a kind of meeting house, and the red-bearded young man went round and about, telling people, well, really gushing to people, "Oh, you've got to come, you've got to find out the word of forgiveness, the word of love, of peace, and of how to love your neighbor as you would love yourself, and, well, that will bring peace, not just here, but to all the world. Please come and find out." Well, he went far and wide in that land asking. He even went to a grand but dilapidated castle. The boy, Peter, warned, "Oh, don't go there. That's the castle of our duke." "You're what?" A nobleman, but, well, he's fallen into some disgrace, gambled away all his money, and now he has to gamble away his daughters to pay off a debt, has to sell them to be slaves, and worse." "What?" "I'm going to put an end to that." And the red-bearded young man marched right up to that dilapidated castle, pounded upon the door until, it creaked open, and there stood a gaunt man with velvet, now gone threadbare, upon his back. He glowered and cried, "Step away from my door before I run this sword through thee. I have no reason to have business with a stranger like you. Listen, I heard about your demise, about your debt, your daughters. Let me give you some gold. I have plenty, and you can save them from having to be sold as slaves or worse. How dare you offer me that?" And he thrust the sword at our red-bearded young man and even cut him a bit. "What are you doing?" Well, the boy tugged him away. Boom! And the door slammed. "I told you, he's not the kind that will accept charity. It's the greatest insult to have offered him, our Duke, our noble, money. I don't understand. It would save his daughters. No one would know." And then singing caught the red-bearded young man's ear, and he gazed, and by a stream behind the castle he saw 3 young women, each one more bright and more beautiful than the next, and they were singing and washing their stockings and other clothes. "Who are they?" "They're the Duke's daughters, the ones destined to be sold as slaves, and worse," explained Peter. Well, our red-bearded young man accosted these young women, and he said, "Listen," and they said, "You listen. We don't talk to strangers around here," and they fled into the castle. I really don't understand this land. I don't know what my teacher would have done. He was always able to help those who were in unfortunate circumstances, even helped the blind and the lame. And he seemed to have no trouble giving away wealth. Not that he had much. Oh, Peter, I'm confused." "Well," said Peter, "just watch. Maybe something will come to you of your teachers. Thinking to help you think your way through." Well, our red-bearded fellow, ambitious, idealistic, he agreed. And lo, it came, as if from on high in a wind. He thought, I know what I can do," when he saw through the window what the young sisters had done. They put out their clothes along the fireplace to dry. That evening, the young man came by with Peter, who grew agitated. "If their father sees you prowling around, that sword will go straight through you, and me, just for being with you." "Fear not. I've taken heed to what you said, and listened to what my teacher would say. It's whirling in the wind, and I hope a good wind catches these 3 little bags of gold." "What are you doing? You're not going to go to the door again and try to offer. He definitely will stab you for trying to offer him charity." No. Watch this." And our red-bearded fellow took those 3 bundles and gave them each a little kiss. And then, closing his eyes and lifting his heart, he lifted his hands, whoosh, 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 and tossed the 3 bags of gold. The wind caught them and brought them up into the chimney, and whoosh, 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 down they fell. Away went our red-bearded stranger in this strange land with Peter. The next morning, oh! shrieks of joy filled that ruinous old castle. The Duke came in to see. "What's this? Why are you girls exclaiming so?" "Father, our prayers have come true. When we put our toes into our stockings, hung by the fireplace to dry, what did they wiggle against? But look, bags of gold, enough to get ourselves out of poverty and to marry." And before the Duke could snatch the gold to gamble it away, away went the three. And because they were each more beautiful and bright than any other light that may have been about, they were able to buy their way from slavery and into a good marriage, as was the way of those days. At the celebration, the Duke, who had to invite everyone in his realm, went over to our red-bearded young man. "You're responsible for this. You found a way to give them gold." "I did. You admit it. You gave me one of royalty, charity. This will not stand." "But no one knows of my gesture, save for my assistant here, Peter." "What? You didn't go and tell everyone? You didn't show some pride in what you've done, helping the grand and ruinous Duke here? Why not?" "Well, I could tell you why not, but better you come to one of my meetings, and I'll tell you of the one who taught me these ways, and even taught me of forgiveness, peace, and of how to love your neighbor, and everyone, even the likes of me, the way you love yourself." Well, the Duke was perplexed, but he agreed, and he went to this meeting place, and when he did, others came. And after a time, when others had come, the red-bearded young man, whose beard began to now fleck with gray, went on his way, sailing across the Mediterranean Sea, to tell of his teacher, to show how you can love even your neighbor, who maybe you don't like too much, who maybe wants to run a sword through you, the way you'd love yourself. And he continues on his way today, giving gifts like those bags of gold, which is why it's not a bad idea to hang some stockings with care. And if you get something like gold or even an orange in the bottom of these stockings, you'll know you've been visited by the one called Saint Nicholas. Now Santa Claus. But now you know the story of how the real Saint Nicholas started. I'm Jonathan Kruk, delighted you've watched this little Advent tale. Thank you. Now, permit me to make a spectacle of myself and turn the finish button off. Make sure you visit my website, and I do like to come out and tell tales here and even in person when permitting.